What is going on, guys? Sturmgeschütz here. Now, today I have a T-62a review. Yeah, that's right, Tier 10 Russian medium. I finally have it, and I have got to say, it is one amazing tank. Yes, I just lost a battle, but that is not the point. If you want proof that that's not the point, I am a average player, and yet this tank is amazing enough, so I still have a, where is it now? 64% win rate with 125 battles. This tank is truly amazing. It is the top XP earning tank in my garage at this current time. Now, why is this tank so amazing? Well, one, it's because of the armor. Not the crew, it's because of the armor. It has 102mm of armor at the front, and in the hull it has 175mm on the sides and 45 at the rear. You do not want to get shot in the back, especially by Panzer E100s with high explosive, because pretty much anything at this tier has enough penetration to penetrate 45mm of high explosive. Heck, I'm pretty sure the Hetzer has enough. Let's find out. Not filters. I do not want filters. I just have so much tanks. As you can see, I get lost. That's great. Alright, Hetzer. With this 105mm howitzer, or the derp gun, whatever you'd like to call it, it has 53mm of high explosive penetration. Yes, 53. That is enough to penetrate the back of a tier 10 Russian medium. Where is it now? Yes, that tier 4 tank can penetrate this thing with high explosive. Yes. So you do not want to get shot in the back by anything with high explosive, as it will hurt a lot, as I've learned the hard way. Now, I said it's mainly about the armor. Well, you may be wondering, well, the hull armor's terrible. Yes, well, it's not that good, but you have an amazing turret. You have pretty much an IS-7's turret from the front. As you can see, it's 240mm at the front, and it's exactly the same as the IS-7. Although slightly, it is a little bit less at the sides, 161 compared to like 180 on the IS-7, and 65 at the rear. But you don't want to be giving your rear of anything to anybody. Who gives their rear to the enemy tanks? Yeah, not very many people do that. So yeah, you have a phenomenally tough turret. As you can see, very well armored. And yeah, its maneuverability is off the charts. It weighs around 37.25 tons and has a 580 horsepower engine, giving it a very decent horsepower to weight ratio. But you may be wondering, the T-54 weighs less and has a much higher engine horsepower rating. Yeah, well, that's because this thing has a very poor terrain resistance to the ground. This thing has a much better terrain resistance compared to the T-54. Resistance, not resistant. Anyways, sorry, my English is very poor sometimes. I just rush my words and I do not speak very well. That is my fault, and I apologize for that. And yeah, this tank has a very much greater power to weight ratio. I mean, not power to weight ratio, what's it called now? I am forgetting my favorite tanks games words. I feel like I'm dumb. Yeah, ground terrain resistance. It has a much better ground terrain resistance. My goodness, I feel so stupid at some points. And yeah, moving on. For the consumables, we have the multi-purpose restoration pack, and the rations, and then adrenaline. And why is adrenaline so important? Well, let's say I'm going up against another T-62a, and he loads his adrenaline. Well, typically you just load your adrenaline to counter that, and you have a better chance of winning if you know what you're doing. If somebody just pulls out adrenaline, it's pretty much they're gonna win, because their rate of fire will beat you. But if you even it up, it'll make it better. Or let's say I'm going up against an E50M who has 1,200 health. I'm sitting on 700 health. My DPM is a little bit greater, but with the adrenaline, I'll be able to shoot much faster than him, and I will be able to kill him before he can get the 3 shots to kill me. Hopefully, if RNG doesn't troll me. Anyways, moving on to the equipment. As you can see, I'm missing the middle slot, which I am going to be filling with the medium tank gun rim. But currently, I have the improved ventilation and the toolbox. And why do I have the toolbox? Well, that's because I find that medium tanks, like let's say the 54, it gets tracked a lot, sometimes if you're just driving around and you get shot in the tracks, it will get knocked off. And I find that with the T-54, even without the repair kit or the toolbox, whatever they call it, it repairs very fast. So I put the toolbox on it and it repairs even faster, because in medium tanks you do not want to stay still. You do not want to be caught in the open. You want to get your tracks repaired as fast as possible and get out of there. Now, I didn't put the gun laying drive on because, one, I never use it because I find it doesn't make much of a difference, because the only tanks that have pitifully long aiming times are typically the Russian tanks, and with the hand of Stalin, who needs aiming time? You just look at them and then shoot. Stalin will guide your shots for you. And yeah, so the T-62a has a 2-second aiming time, and yeah, my ping just rose up, which caught me off guard. I have no idea what's going on. As you can see, I'm getting lag spikes. But yeah, this tank does not need heat. It is a very, very good tank. It's a very good gun, as you can see. It shoots around 10 rounds a minute and has 264 millimeters of average penetration with standard APCR. And with heat, it has 330 millimeters of average penetration. That is very good, and yeah, and that's why a lot of people spam heat, because why not? Bigger numbers equals better, typically. Now, with high explosive, even high explosive by itself, this T-62a can penetrate itself with high explosive. Now, that is just sad. Yeah, so you do not want to be giving your back to anyone, like I stated earlier. That's because anything can pretty much penetrate you. Average damage is 300 millimeters, or not 300 millimeters. Oh, goodness, sorry. 300 damage. Now, with high explosive, it does 420, which is a little bit better, and that is why if you get behind, let's say, a T-1 which has 30 millimeters of armor at the back, well, 38 to be specific, that is why you want to load high explosive, because you can penetrate it and do much more damage, therefore killing him faster, and then you can eliminate him faster and focus on other tanks faster. Now, the accuracy is decent. It has a 0.34 accuracy, which is very good for a Russian tank, especially a Russian tank, but for German, not so much, considering the German tanks have around 0.3 accuracy, and the aiming time on this tank is phenomenal with 2 seconds. Very, very good. And yeah, this tank is just overall very, very good, and I'll show you some more stats on it in 1 minute. I'll get to the Tank Inspector app, and I'll see you there. Alright, so here we are. We're shooting at the T-62a with its own gun. All the green means you will penetrate it, red means you probably won't, and yellow means around average. And as you can see, the colors will change. It doesn't just go from red, yellow, and that. It will have different variants of the colors, as you can see on the upper glacis. It goes from around a greenish yellow to just plain red, because that is at which point it will become too much and it will ricochet, and that's because it is an auto bounce zone at that angle. Now, that's not what I wanted to show you, but what I wanted to show you was the gun depression and elevation. What I've noticed is with the T-62a, you have very poor gun depression, and I just wanted to see how much it is. 1, because I've never tried it, and 2, because in-game it is very poor gun depression. Now, as you can see, it only has 5 degrees of gun depression. Now, that is not what it feels like. As you can see on Blitz, I don't know if this is a difference on PC, but no, it's set to Blitz. But I feel like it has way less than that. In-game, it feels more like that. Yeah. Well, you may have 5 degrees of gun depression, but that's not what it feels like. For me, 5 degrees of gun depression is what the E50 has, but the E50 feels much better than the T-62a. Statistically, they're pretty much the same. As you can see, German mediums, E50 Alf's M, and it has 6 degrees, so I was wrong. It is slightly better. But, yeah, don't count on gun depression. If you want to go hull down, make sure you're not shooting down a hill, or try not to, because it has very poor gun depression. 5 degrees, that's just not very good. But the gun elevation gets the job done with 17 degrees, and yeah. Now it's time to show you some gameplay. See you out there. Another thing I wanted to show you that I actually forgot to mention was the turret. Turret, as you can see, it's got a commander's hatch, as you can see right around here where my shell is, the white dot. As you can see, is commander's hatch. As you can see, it's a bit of a lump, as I'm sure you've seen in game. But you may be wondering, why won't you penetrate it? Well, that's because it is very, very, very thick. Let's see exactly how thick it is. Well, it's 214 millimeters thick, and as you can see, it's all rounded and sloped. And that is why you tend to bounce off the tower. But, yeah, if I can get this right, if you shoot the hatch itself, which is actually a very, very low profile target, sorta, in a way, yeah, if you're shooting it like that, it's actually a very small target, very hard to hit. And if the T-62a is either wiggling his turret, as you can see, wiggling his turret, or he is moving back and forth, like, let's say, like, ooh, I don't know, I can't really make him move, but yeah, it's a very small target, very hard to hit, and most of the time, I'm sure you've hit the tower. The tower that's right here, obviously, that I'm talking about. Now, if you hit this, you're pretty much going to bounce, because at this angle, let's say we're at the T-62a's height, we're in a face hug, and we're shooting at itself. It is around 470 millimeters thick at that angle. That is because it's very well angled, very well sloped, and yeah, you do not want to shoot at that. You want to make sure you hit the top, or you just want to, in a face hug, you want to use your 5 degrees of pitiful gun depression, and try to hit his hull, which is, as you can see, very easy to penetrate. Or take your chances with the turret, but as I said, if he wiggles his turret, it's going to be hard to penetrate, and yeah. That's all I wanted to show you, and yeah. Moving on to the game. Now, we are moving on to the game.